So when you're in your mid-40s, what are you going to be doing with your life? Most would probably be working some sort of stable job, slowly building up their diverse investment portfolio, have achieved so much with their lives, and even have a loving partner and kids to come home to. Now, if we are being realistic, most of you are going to be adding to your already mountain load of hours in War Thunder, VR Chat,
You're gonna stop this cut clean!
or World of Warcraft, alongside watching and donating regularly to your favourite VTubers that you for some delusional reason think actually care about you. The My Little Pony figurine in the cum jar has probably fully eroded in your nut by this time. You reside in a damp, partially mouldy basement, and the only achievement you've made in your life is the Parmesan maturing around your meat sleeve. It sounds about right. Or maybe you go down a different route than your intended destiny. Maybe a route that has somewhat of an equal outcome, just somewhat of a more infamous reputation as a result. And almost the entire population of a platform constantly expressing how much they have a distaste for you. And it's even led to in real life implications where people act like they've seen Bigfoot when seeing you in public, and bully you accordingly. There's an entire subreddit dedicated to hating you, and even accounts and TikTok trends where they track your current location. On top of all of this, you are constantly adding to that burning fire of hatred towards you, because their hatred for you is the only reason now why people know you, and potentially generates the only source of income you have. So you now have to upload daily videos akin to ragebait, basically intentionally embarrassing yourself, like uploading videos of yourself to social media wearing women's underwear and dresses, with questionable sound effects and captions, in order to plant the crop rotation of hate so you can somewhat earn a livable wage so you can continue to be somewhat unemployed. This is the exact situation Paul Breach, or Beauty Beyond the Eye, finds himself in to this day, with said online career somewhat grinding towards an end, so he now has to make fun of himself and the people making fun of him in order to prevent falling into complete irrelevance. This is Paul, someone we're going to talk about today, and someone that has voluntarily become a lolcow, a reputation that he previously despised, and has been shrouded in many controversies through his time on the internet.
So, Paul Breach is an alleged predator, but a confirmed creep.
But now clings to said reputation to survive on the internet. And like me, unfortunately resides in the UK, and I swear to God and the entire reputation of the UK race, we do not act like this. We do not act like middle-aged femboys that are having Twitter and Discord withdrawals. That responsibility fortunately resides with the Polish.
Grass, blue sky, better throw up on the day that I...
So Beauty Beyond the Eye, or as most people prefer to go by his full legal name, Paul Breach, was born on January 31st, 1980, making him, as of 2025, 45 years old. And he is British, once again, not associated, and is classed as an online internet influencer on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. But before his rise to fame, he worked in the healthcare industry as a healthcare assistant in places like nursing homes for over 20 years. As he put it, working with the sickest and most vulnerable people that have been abandoned by most.
Work in healthcare. I have done for my whole working adult life. I get to see and help the most poorest, vulnerable people in the world. People that you abandon, people that you ridicule, people that you... When I go back to care, down the line, months, years down the line, I will hold a resident's hand, I will hug a resident, and depending on the resident and what they seem, I will side kiss. I will do that because that's my level of care that I've done for 21 years.
But Paul would leave that job after obtaining some would call internet fame in 2021 as a result of some of his TikToks going viral. Specifically one, which was his Black Flash, his masterpiece, his magnum opus, which was his rendition and performance of the song Green Green Grass by George Ezra, a song that became tainted for many just by the memory of Paul Breach, and a lot of people saying they can no longer listen to that song without Vietnam flashbacks of Paul appearing. dancing and lip-syncing to this song, and it would be a moment in history many would recall as the Green Green Grass era, his anime training arc if you will, for the horrors that would be his next few years on the internet. Whilst it is unclear what initially got Paul so much attention from this one TikTok, it may have been the fact that this man is not the usual demographic for people that make TikTok content, or maybe the energetic dancing was somewhat akin to a snake charm that would hypnotize people into watching. Probably not the latter option there. But from this one successful video, Paul would start seeing a lot of attention on his TikTok page, with his older account almost reaching 1 million followers, something his latest account is also getting close to. But it was mainly people within the UK that faced this blight. It didn't really spread to anywhere else in the world. You can thank us for the sacrifice later, by the way, but the overnight popularity was partially due to the fact this video was turned into a meme, and after Paul saw this, he would not let this chance go, and began using this song in a lot of his regular content, and I mean a lot. There is probably a pure gigabyte on the TikTok servers dedicated to Paul lip-syncing and dancing to this song. Another absolute banger Paul produced around the same time was a dedicated self-produced song for a footballer called Jack Grealish around the time the World Cup was being hosted, which I don't know if you Americans know about. It's basically like the Super Bowl, but held every 4 years, playing a game that is actually more appropriately named football. But how is that foreskin scar treating you? Anyway, but Paul would go out of his way to basically confess his love for Jack and create his own symphony that would probably have the same effect as the brown note if fully realised and turned into a song. Don't believe me? Watch it.
Do you remember? Before the Euros there was a footballer that nobody knows. Now it's the World Cup. And he scores his goal. His name was Jack Jack. Jack Grealish. His name was Jack Jack. Jack Grealish. And you're like, he's my bubba. Oh, he's my boo 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 boo. Oh, he's my bubba. He's my boo 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 boo. Come on, England.
On top of committing genocide in the form of auditory torture to the many that watched that TikTok, this comes across as somewhat bizarre from the language used, on top of the fact, he is 40, and many people that age that liked someone like Jack would just follow them on Twitter or maybe send them a message or upload a cum tribute to 4chan in their honour, not basically confess their love to them and call them their boo or whatever Elvish is being spoken here. But let's not forget Paul's greatest fumble, where he was informed live in the studio, his bathroom, that there had been a tragic plane crash in Tanzania, and he was just so distraught receiving this information, he had to transform his sadness into a dance, a boogie if you will, with help from Bruno Mars.
Oh, there's a plane crash in Tanzania. God, blimey. Into the lake.
Now this and his previously mentioned rise to fame being Green Green Grass, and his overall demeanour in his videos being somewhat flamboyant and one could say childish, which was a stark contrast to his actual age, Paul was starting to become well known and well hated. Many people calling what he does cringe, and the fact he does what he does in the way he does what he does at his current age. But the funniest thing I found, and I don't condone bullying, but someone said his face looks like Billy Bear meat, and it's somewhat accurate, but it also unlocked a childhood memory of mine. All kids ate this. It was so unhealthy, but so fucking good. You could label this as cesium 137 and people would still eat this. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the core memory. The thing is, if Paul was just a 45-year-old doing silly things on the internet, most people would just ignore it. Yes, some people would call it cringe, but he wouldn't have as much notoriety as he does today, and people would have forgot about him a long time ago. But Paul wasn't just dancing and doing silly things on the internet. Paul, as you will find out later, had a string of controversies and multiple cases where he's acted very odd, which has gave him the reputation he has today, and it's the reason why a lot of people despise him. Paul eventually started live streaming, and we all finally got to see the personality behind the Green Green Grass. And to some people's surprise, he was a very, very odd person. He had this sort of act on his live streams which was like a TikTok e-boy, acting somewhat like a player or a womanizer. So basically imagine your average male VR chat mirror dweller.
Are you good, Izzy? Crikey. I don't want to Chloe. I'm good, Chloe. How is that beautiful face of yours?
It must do clearly. Thank you. Maybe I'm the host element.
He would do and say random things that were almost like a cry for help or attention.
I got abused when I was younger.
But even without this, people discovered he was kind of odd for multiple reasons. First, due to the hate he was getting, he disabled the comments on his live streams, meaning when he was streaming on TikTok, nobody could communicate with him. But strangely enough, he would start reading comments that almost appeared out of thin air. Yes, even though he disabled all forms of communication with him on his live stream, he was still apparently able to communicate with the people watching his live stream.
Right, night. Just been out for food. What food did you get? Missy, hi Mel, hi. Hi Barney. Are you good? Yeah, bye. You're late, yeah. I will never be 39 again.
Maybe we underestimated Paul. Maybe he was Professor X all along, and could communicate with specific people watching his streams through his power of telepathy. But no, maybe that's a different universe because he was straight up just making up these comments. But it didn't stop there, because he would also make up scenarios where he was getting very spicy messages and would hint throughout his streams that they were very explicit.
Will you behave? No, don't shave it off. Will you behave yourself, bud? You know I'm going to be cautious. You know that, honey. You know it.
But don't worry, it got worse, because then he started acting like females were in the same room as him. Sometimes he even played sound effects from YouTube to simulate said environment.
Fucking hell. Jacob, thanks for the follow. So much. That is a fucking cracking impression of me, love.
Are the girls in the room with us right now, Paul? If so, tell us their cup size. It could be a possibility that he's just a deranged My Academia fan, let's be honest. Nobody knows why he was acting like this or why he was trying to convince us he was good with the female gender, but it kinda came off like a prepubescent teen that just wanted people to care and think they were cool through pathologically lying. But like a prepubescent teen, people eventually found out that he still lived with his parent, as in one of his dancing streams in the bathroom his dad would attempt to relieve himself, but little did he know he was walking into Paul's streaming dojo, so Paul would quickly close the door in his face in his own house, and essentially gatekeep the toilet. This probably led to one of Paul's later training arcs, which was temporarily being homeless for a month and living in a tent. People also began to notice that Paul only really replied to females in his comments, and he responded in a questionable way when confronted with this.
Why do you only talk to girls in the comments? Because it's only the girls that are commenting, and if it's a comment from a guy, I say hi. I don't know. Maybe because I'm dating them all and we're having babies. Only to the ones I'm married to, which is all of them.
Now this discovery would start one of the first and biggest controversies against Paul that still to this day is being levied against him, and would lead to additional disturbing information being found out about Paul.
Hello, sweetie. Hello, cupcake. Hello, my little delectable princess. Hello, my queen. Hello, my bubs. Hello, my boo-boo-boo. Hello, my little baby.
So Paul has already been described as a weird guy, from the way he composes himself to his actions on stream and his obsession with the female gender. But all of this wouldn't really solidify such a terrible reputation. Well, till people discovered something about Paul, which would give people a lot more reasons to hate him. And this was that he actually had a child, as people would come across his Facebook account, which showed family pictures and a picture of him with a visibly pregnant woman, when he was around 28 years old. Now just from this information you would think there's nothing really wrong here, he's a father, so what? He's got to the point where some of you may have never got, which you would say if the girl that was pregnant at the time wasn't 17, with speculations that Paul was interacting with her while she was 16. Once again, at this time he was 28 years of age. Now as Paul resides in the UK, this legally doesn't serve a problem, but the morality of it is a different question. Due to this, Paul now had the reputation of being a predator and a groomer, claims which still follow him to this day.
Excuse me.
Just wait there, that's fine.
I got a nonce with me. I got a nonce, sir. He's a sex offender. Listen, he's actually a nonce. He's actually a nonce.
But if you want a quick UK slang lesson, some people in the UK would call him a nonce, which translates to predator or pedo. Little bit of education for you there. You can't say you don't learn anything from these videos. But Paul was now under the microscope and scrutiny of the internet. But there isn't anything else, right? He's already done something that requires you to have moral bankruptcy. There can't be anything else, right? Well, people would look to Paul's Instagram, where he follows a lot of women from teens to young adults. And there was one specific case where he liked a minor that was underage in a bikini, but gave the reasoning she had just survived cancer, so he was going to continue to like her posts and show his support.
The ladies' pictures that I've liked, like I said this morning, she suffered with cancer when she was growing up. So I will like her prom pictures because she survived to be a prom. I will like the other pictures because she was confident at posting, even though she's recovered and was recovering from cancer.
Additionally, people within Paul's community would start to share messages and voice notes he had sent to them and conversations he initiated just by them following him.
And now you're going to get two questions. Number one, it's a very important question. What is your favourite colour balloon? I know, deep. And what are your thoughts on like walking, exploring, adventuring, the great outdoors?
Also, a 15-year-old would come out at the time and say he tried to talk to them, but they refused to start a conversation with him. There was also another 15-year-old who commissioned a cameo from Paul to basically say happy birthday, but he went on this long rant of compliments.
Dolly, hello love, hello duck, hello babe, hello honey, hello sweetie, hello cupcake, hello my little delectable princess, hello my queen. My little woo-woo-woo, my little boo-boo-boo, my little tiny devil. Stay amazing and never stop. Again, a message from Holly to me, to you, love. You incredible look. Hi.
People started to question at this time, why is he always trying to interact with young girls from 15 to 19, which he gives the excuse he's just trying to spread positivity, especially those that are recovering from illnesses, but he never sends these messages to either males or older people. But many people use this clip as an answer where he says he'll never date anyone his age.
I don't want to. I don't want to date a 43-year-old. I'm sorry. I don't want to date a 43-year-old.
To give him the benefit of the doubt, he could be talking about people actually his age, like 40s. But that benefit of the doubt instantly goes out the window when he started collaborating with a 19-year-old that had an OnlyFans. And on one of Paul's lives, he would heavily insist and hint towards doing a photo shoot in quotations with the girl present.
Do you know how nice this wall is? This wall is going to be amazing for photos later. You need to start getting ready. You got to go get all your stuff.
Yeah.
Your outfit changes. You need to get all your outfit changes. And you need to go and sort all that malarkey out.
Yeah.
And then we can take photos and it'll be majestic. Is that my hand? Yeah, that's my hand.
What happened to that?
Right, so we're going to go and do... Yeah. So yeah, and then you go get your stuff and then we can crack on that. Yeah?
But I'm still full.
Well, maybe if the stop looking at videos of me and be fucking better and you feel better. But yeah, if we do go sort out your outfits or whatever, and then we can do these photos, we go crazy.
But many came across with the point that they are 19 and they can make their own decisions at that point. But the only evidence people used against Paul that was actually concrete to claim he's a predator or a groomer is the fact he got someone pregnant who was below the age of 18 when he was in his late 20s, which is still pretty bad. But aside from sending messages and voice notes, quote-unquote inspiring and wishing people the best, there hasn't been anything explicit with his online interactions that outright says he is a predator, at least from what I could find. But I did find an online article that claims he was filming near a children's park, and concerns were raised, but there was no evidence whatsoever to prove this.
Because you can't stop being dicks in this universe. I've got to put up with people being dicks in this universe.
Now, with Paul's reputation somewhat solidified, said reputation being a creep and an alleged predator, a lot of people would begin talking about and documenting Paul.
Who could have imagined that the 40-something-year-old man making thirst traps aimed at children would turn out to be a real weirdo? I can't believe it. It's always the ones you least expect, am I right?
Due to this, day by day more people would learn about Paul's reputation, and as a result he would start to receive a lot of harassment, with multiple occasions where people would find him on the street and confront him about his past and his interactions with other people.
That's a video.
Yeah. Say,
Enjoy yourselves. You ready?
you alright? Oh. Yeah. What?
Before I even hear you.
Oi, why do you talk to 16-year-old girls?
What?
Why do you talk to 16-year-old girls?
Who's 16?
Huh?
Who's 16? Why are you filming this? Should we go talk to the police? Should we go
No,
to the police? No,
no.
let's should we do
In one of the situations, someone threw Billy Bear meat at his face and then ran off, because I'm guessing at this point it became an actual meme in the community. At one point in 2023, it became a trend to find Paul and just record him going about his day, which gave birth to the Paul tracking trend, where people would share the location of where Paul currently was and what he was doing. They even made a map showing his spawn points. But eventually it would escalate to the point where Paul was apparently attacked whilst he was walking down the street with a girl, and he responded by making a TikTok where he was very emotional, basically describing how he and the girl had been attacked.
fucking realities of fucking shitty social media. I had to put cameras outside the front of my house now to sort of picture your fucking faces, because you can't stop being dicks in this universe. I've got to put up with people being dicks in this universe. I've got to fucking put up with people putting masks on, running at a fucking poor girl who I'm with at the time, trying to punch me, or trying to fucking just scare the living shit out of her to try and record it to post on social media.
One person even made a public service announcement warning people in Paul's local area about him and informing people about what he had done and warning people their kids may be groomed by him. Paul saw this and really didn't like it, so he responded by contacting their workplace, saying this person has basically spread false information about them and trying to potentially get them fired. Paul's original account was even banned from people reporting him due to his past.
Hi, my name's Paul. My account at the moment has been permanently banned from TikTok and I am in tears. If it stays permanently banned, c'est la vie.
There was even an online petition to get him removed from the internet, which only 500 people signed. But as you can tell, a lot of people really didn't like Paul. But that would actually improve in recent years, as from 2024 to 2025, nobody really cared about Paul anymore. Paul's entire popularity up to this point was based on how much people hated him, but in recent years people have actually forgotten about him. Since the end of 2023, many accounts that were dedicated to hating on Paul are now all dead, and there just generally isn't anyone really talking about Paul anymore. So he naturally started to see a decline in his viewership, which directly affected his income. So instead of either ignoring or responding negatively to his reputation online, he decided in fact to lean into it. To this day, Paul is making videos that are essentially humiliation rituals, which you could argue is not as different than his usual content, but he clearly took himself less seriously now. These new videos were often accompanied with some weird captions, hinting at the clothes he's wearing or his extracurricular activities. This actually worked in his favour. He's been making steady numbers and has even had enough money to travel to Japan and other countries. And as he said himself, when the gravy train ends, he would just go back to his career in care, and that hasn't happened yet. Although I am curious when he does go back to care, if they will be doing online background checks to see what history he has and what he's been doing online. As I've said before, if Paul was just a goofy guy dancing on TikTok, nobody really would still know him to this day. It's only due to the way he interacted with other people and his past that he's gathered such an infamous reputation, And yes, whilst under the current laws he hasn't done anything illegal, at least yet, he has most definitely made some morally wrong decisions in his past. But I'd like to say his online career is slowly grinding to a halt, whilst his new stunt has seen some people come back just to hate on him, and he is seeing the same numbers he was getting from 2021 to 2023. I personally don't think it's going to last very long. There's only so much hate you can milk from the internet, and one day as a result, we may see the last of the green grass. But it isn't the last time you'll see me. Unlike your parents and your previous relationship, where they promised they would never leave you and even said something along the lines of, "You'll be the one to leave me because I will never leave you, I love you so much." Don't worry, I still tolerate you. But that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.